Okay, yeah. So I'm Katelyn, and I'm going to be talking about a time I experienced a different culture. Okay, so basically how it all started is, not all started, but, okay. My mom's friends, well, my mom's friend and her husband, she's from Bulgaria, and she moved here. Well, her boys were born in Russia, so she moved here like 8 years ago. And I don't often see them without my parents there because they're not my friends. But I had to go to their son's birthday party, but I was the only person there that wasn't their family. And so I'm going to talk about that experience because they, even though they live in America, they still have like Russian and Bulgarian culture in their household because like they speak Russian to their kids and their kids are trying to learn English right now. But they like, and to each other. And so I'm going to start with material culture because that's the first thing on the list, and I tried to memorize the list because I'm not very good at talking to something that is not a person, because it makes me feel like I'm talking to myself, but I guess I kind of am. So material culture, they don't any longer dress how they would traditionally dress back in Russia. However, they are very modest people. Well, she is. She is a very modest person. And so I guess that's part of the culture because usually you'll see like some American, well, she's pretty young, but some American girls like wearing crop tops and shorts, and she always has a tracksuit on all the time, or a very long dress. And so there's not much about material cultures with them, but with the unmaterial things like gestures and how they act and what they do, they talk a lot with their hands. They offer lots of food as soon as you enter the house. They're very sweet. They say, "Oh, do you want something to drink, something to eat? Come on, let me get it for you to like honor you in my home." And they offer a lot of alcohol. And they're very sweet people to other people. They're not, he is not a, I don't know. But they're very sweet people. They will do anything for you except, like, here's an example. With animals, people here treat them like pets and you love them and you do whatever you can for them. But with animals, with them, it's just, well, you're here for this, this, and this, and no other reason, so I have no reason to feel any need to think that you have emotions or to think that you can feel pain. Because, okay, I got my dog from them because they tied her to a tree on a 6-foot chain for the first 6 months of her life. So they're like, "Oh, do you want anyone that wants her? Because she's like useless to us now." And so I was like, "Yeah, I want her." And they didn't have a problem with that, except he was like, "Oh, well, she can only have one owner. So if you're going to be her owner, no one else can let her listen to them. You're the only owner. And that's not something that I'm particularly familiar with. Or with their food, they have, like, I don't remember what it's called. They make Russian bread. It starts, I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. They make lots of really good, like, Russian dishes. I guess that's what it's called. And how, like, okay. Comparing my culture to their culture is very difficult for me because I have lived in the society that I live in, obviously, my whole life, so I haven't really experienced a lot of the outside, so maybe I'm just uncomfortable with some of the things that they do. I dropped my phone. Maybe I'm just uncomfortable with some of the things that they do because I am not used to that. I'm not used to having some perspectives that they have because of the way that they were raised themselves. So I'm sure they were raised with having lots of people come over and make all these dishes, and you offer all these food and people take it and you just want them to feel comfortable and at home. But usually in America, people only care about themselves, and I didn't really realize that until I spent time with my mom's friends, who I'm not going to say their names because that would be inappropriate to post on the internet. But, like, with them, I just never realized that people in my culture and my society today are so selfish and absorbed with themselves. So if I walked into somebody's house, I'm not going to say that it wouldn't happen, but I'm saying it probably wouldn't because of the way that they were raised themselves. They wouldn't offer you something. They would just say, well, if you want it, then go get it. And that doesn't make people feel comfortable. That doesn't make people feel at home. And the way to make people feel at home is a lot of things that they do. They offer you as many things as they possibly can think of just to make sure that you're not just saying no because you're uncomfortable because you think they don't actually want you to have it. They are the sweetest people ever. And they always talk like they're not great at English, but they know a lot of English, but they talk like at the end of every sentence, they say, oh, my friend, like they make sure you know that they care for you, not just because you're in their household, but because that's mutual respect from person to person. And I just never realized that it would be so different when you actually think about it. Because I have been raised the way that I've been raised, and I've learned the things that I've learned because of the way that I've been raised. And so people don't actually realize, like, when you're uncomfortable with something, it's because you're not used to it. Like, sometimes it can't always be bad. It could be a bad thing, but I'm just saying in this instance, it's because you're not used to having people be polite to you, so you think it's weird. But that's just because Americans aren't really polite. They're actually kind of rude. Like, they'll help each other out. Like, oh, yeah, well, I guess I can help you if you need something. And I'm not saying everybody is like that. But I personally, from my own experiences, know people that are like that. But the people that I have experienced with a different culture are not like that. Even if they knew that they only had one, like, let's say one loaf of bread for their whole family, they would still give half of it to you because they think you need it more than them. And that's just mutual respect that you should give back to people always, not just when you're in a different circumstance. So I think that people need to try to be better and better themselves, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them because that's the way that they were born and raised, and yeah, I understand that, but all I'm saying is that it would be better for the world if people started respecting each other rather than thinking about themselves and being narcissists. So that's what I've learned from experiencing a different culture, and I hope that you liked my little story, kind of a story. And so I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.